Good afternoon. My name is Sarah Margaret Mason, and today I will be speaking on women in the military then and now. Ma'am, yes, ma'am. This is what cadets will say in response to respect their women leaders in the military. Even though women went through so many hardships while fighting for their right to be a soldier, the successes they have accumulated over the years wouldn't be as admired if they didn't work hard to get where they are today. The idea of women leading our country has almost always been overlooked. In today's time, we are finally taking a turn in the right direction by having courageous women be key leaders in our nation's military. Going to a military school for 7 years has taught me the importance of being a strong, driven, determined, and devoted young woman. Our female Army instructor by the name of Sergeant Major McCabe has made an impression on us and always encouraged us females to always fight for what we believe in. Knowing she is retired military shows that she is walking proof that she herself has fought for her rights and respect to be a leader in our nation's military. Today, I'd like to share with you the history of women in the military, the struggles they have faced, and the success women in the military have achieved for our nation. To begin with, I would like to give you a brief history of women in the military. Ever since the Revolutionary War that started in 1775, women have always been involved in the military somehow, some way. During this time period, women served as nurses, cooks, and even spies. In 1782, a young woman by the name of Deborah Sampson served 17 months in Washington's army, and her gender was not revealed until she was wounded in battle. Again, in 1898, many women during the Spanish-American War disguised themselves as men just so they could serve as soldiers. According to an article written by the name of Daniel Miller, Frances Cullen disguised herself as a man named Jack Williams just so she could be in the military. In the article, Daniel Miller states, "To ensure her true identity was never discovered, she perfected the habits to her fellow soldiers, smoking, drinking, chewing tobacco, swearing, and gambling. She also had the advantage of being tall and thin and carried herself with a manly gait." In 1976, the future for women in the military began. This was the year that the first women were admitted to the 4 of the 5 service academies. Women's roles has changed drastically over the past few centuries. Even though their successes are widely acknowledged, it was not easy. Now that you are familiar with the history of women in the military, we can now move on to the struggles that they have faced to get where they are today. As I've said before, women in the military have almost always been overlooked. There is an article in the New York Times that interviews women in the military, and they share their personal struggles that they have faced. The following 3 quotes are from female veterans that have been in the military. "Because we are female, a lot of respect slips through the cracks, and we are now treated as though we aren't worth as much as a male. We work twice as hard to get half as far. As a female in war, it's you against the world. You have to be doubly aware of your environment, not only outside the wire, but inside the wire as well. Deployment is stressful for everyone. However, as a female officer, I take pride in doing the job right. I don't ever want to be anyone's example of why women should not be in the military." Hearing these quotes gives me chills because even though these women are always degraded and looked down upon, that did not stop them. This did not define them. Their courage and determination proves their perseverance even when they are faced with the hardest adversity. Their mission was to prove others wrong, and they did not stop until they get what they deserve. Even though women went through so many hardships while fighting for their right to be a soldier, the successes they have accumulated over the years wouldn't be as admired if they didn't work hard to get where they are today. So what does success look like in the view of women in the military? Well, I'll tell you. In 2004, Colonel Linda McTeague becomes the first woman to command a U.S. Air Force fighter squadron. In 2008, Army General Ann Dunwoody is the first woman to achieve a 4-star officer rank. In 2011, female officers deploy on a submarine for the first time. In 2015, Captain Kristen Geis, Major Lisa Jaster, and First Sergeant Shay Haber become the first female soldiers to graduate from Ranger School. In 2017, 3 women become the first female infantry Marines. In the last few decades, the role of women in the military has flourished tremendously. These women join the military knowing the odds are already against them, but they do not let that define them. They are warriors, they are important, and they are needed for the success of this nation. To conclude, women in the military have made a name for themselves. They are all role models for young women by never giving up. We have discussed the history of women in the military, their struggles, and their successes regarding the role in the military. I will now share a story of our valedictorian of my graduating class. Her name is Callie McMullen, and Callie and I have been attending Georgia Military College Prep School since the 6th grade, so we went to school together for 7 years. In her junior year of high school, she decided that she wanted to continue her career and serve our nation's military. She applied and got an appointment to West Point Academy, and she made history by being the first African American female in our graduating class to ever graduate from GMC in the history. And she just finished up her first year at West Point, and she is doing awesome. I have such great respect for all those individuals who serve our nation. I considered myself going into the military my junior year as well, but I decided that I wanted to have a regular college experience. But nonetheless, Georgia Military College Preparatory School has opened so many opportunities for me, and it has equipped me to be a future leader wherever that might be, whether that be at my current university, my hometown, my state, and even my nation. The idea of women leading our country has almost always been overlooked. In today's time, we are finally taking a turn in the right direction by having courageous women be key leaders in our nation's military. And these are my audience members for today.